Wawaskanoque Dijnakans, Shikan Dodem, Ganabajing Donjaba. Ani, my spirit name is Flower Woman, and my English name is Elaine Johnston of the Turtle Clan of Serpent River First Nation. I'm chair of the Indigenous Trustees Council of the Ontario Public School Board Association. I'm also the Indigenous trustee of the Algoma District School Board, whose board office is located in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, also known as Bawating, within the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory. It's Truth and Reconciliation Week in Canada. What does this mean? September 30th is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, a day of which students, staff, and school communities, along with all Canadians, commemorate the tragic history and ongoing legacy of residential schools where more than 150,000 First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children were forced to attend between 1870s and the 1997. Did you know that First Nations of this beautiful country we call Canada are the original inhabitants of this land? I am Ojibwe Potawatomi and a proud Anishinaabe woman. Both of my parents went to residential school, and I went to an Indian day school. I carry memories and experiences with me today and every day of the year, not just on September the 30th. When the Pope made his apology this summer, I was very emotional. Many of my people were. Imagine if your child is removed by police and taken away to a school not of your choosing. Imagine if your child has beautiful hair that you love to brush and he or she was forced to have it cut by the operators of the school. Imagine if your child never came back home and you were never told what happened. How would you feel about that if it was your child? Imagine. We as Indigenous people and communities continue to face a number of challenges as a result of the firsthand and intergenerational trauma associated with residential schools, the 60s scoop, the Indian Act, and other assimilation and elimination tactics. Across the country, people will be wearing the orange shirts on the 30th to show their support and raise awareness of the importance of this day. This is a good thing, but we should always remember that truth and reconciliation must be about more than wearing an orange shirt. We all need to continue to advocate and work for positive changes in our education system, in our country, and in our communities. People often ask, what does reconciliation really mean? Well, it's a process of healing relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. This includes acknowledging the truth of Canada's history and taking actions to address the wrongs of the past and the ongoing impacts of discriminatory actions and policies. Just as Murray Sinclair has said, education is what got us here, and education is what will get us out. In school boards across Ontario, Indigenous leaders have come forward to serve as Indigenous trustees. This is a role that should exist in every school board in Ontario, and to ensure that the perspectives of Indigenous people is recognized in all of the important work of our boards of trustees. This issue has raised many times with the current government, and we feel that a long-term strategy for language revitalization is needed. This important work must be made a priority. There is a continued need for regular dialogue and inclusion of Indigenous voices at all relevant tables and committees, and frankly, in all conversations about policies and programs that will affect our communities. This week is a time for commemoration, participation, education, awareness, and reflection. I encourage all Canadians to educate yourselves, your children, and your communities on these important issues. You all have a role to play in making positive changes that will improve the lives and circumstances of Indigenous people. Reconciliation is also about you. What role will you play? Chimigwech.